Episode 2. The Last Flame. The Dragon's First Morning. The first rays of dawn crept through the narrow cracks high above the ancient chamber, slipping between weathered stones that had not seen the morning sun in centuries. Golden beams stretched across the dusty air, revealing countless tiny particles drifting lazily, like floating stars. Silence blanketed the hidden chamber. Not the silence of emptiness, but the peaceful silence that follows a long night of miracles. Caleb sat with his back resting against the cold stone wall, his eyes heavy from exhaustion. He had not slept, not even for a moment. How could he? Only a few feet away, curled upon the ancient stone floor, slept the impossible. A dragon. A real dragon. Its bronze scales shimmered softly beneath the pale morning light, each scale reflecting tiny streaks of gold. Its wings wrapped around its small body like a warm blanket, and its long tail curled neatly around its feet. It looked strangely peaceful, almost innocent. Its chest rose and fell in slow, steady breaths. Each gentle exhale released a faint trail of warm mist that danced through the cool chamber, before fading into the darkness. Caleb couldn't stop staring. His heart still refused to believe what his eyes had witnessed the night before. For as long as anyone could remember, dragons had belonged only to stories. Old songs sung by wandering bards. Legends whispered by grandparents beside crackling winter fires. Fairy tales meant to entertain children before bedtime. Even in Ashfall, where every mountain seemed wrapped in mystery, nobody truly believed dragons had ever existed. Not anymore. People spoke of them the same way they spoke of giants or sea monsters with curiosity, but never with certainty. Yet here, one was, not carved into stone, not painted inside an ancient book, not imagined, alive, breathing, sleeping. Caleb slowly reached toward the creature before stopping halfway. "What are you?" he whispered. The dragon didn't answer. Instead, it released a soft snore that sounded almost like a tiny rumble of distant thunder. Caleb smiled. "I suppose even dragons snore." His voice echoed gently around the chamber. The smile faded as his eyes drifted toward his own left hand. The strange mark remained, a dragon surrounded by dancing flames. Unlike the night before, the symbol had faded beneath his skin, but it had not disappeared. It looked almost as though someone had painted it with living fire beneath the surface of his palm. Curious, Caleb rubbed his thumb across it. Nothing. Then, the mark pulsed. A gentle warmth spread through his hand. Not painful, comforting, like holding his fingers near the forge fire during winter. Caleb frowned. Again. The mark glowed faintly. At that exact moment, the dragon shifted in its sleep. Caleb froze. The warmth vanished. Slowly, almost cautiously, the dragon stretched its neck and opened one golden eye. It blinked once. The morning light reflected inside its bright eyes like molten gold. For several long seconds, it simply looked around the chamber, as though trying to remember where it was. Then, its gaze settled on Caleb. Recognition flashed instantly across its face. The dragon's eyes widened. It let out a cheerful chirp. Before Caleb could react, the young dragon unfolded its wings with an awkward stretch. Its tiny claws clicked across the stone floor as it hurried toward him. "Wait!" The dragon didn't stop. It stumbled halfway, nearly tripping over its own tail before catching itself. Caleb couldn't help laughing. "You really have no idea what you're doing, do you?" The dragon chirped again, sounding almost offended. A second later, it reached him. Instead of stopping, it climbed, one clumsy paw at a time, using Caleb's tunic like a ladder. "Hey!" The dragon ignored him completely. Its wings flapped wildly for balance. Its claws slipped twice before finally pulling itself into Caleb's lap. "There you are!" Caleb sighed dramatically. "So that's your plan?" The dragon looked up at him with enormous golden eyes. Then, with complete confidence, it rested its head against Caleb's chest. Caleb blinked. It was warm, much warmer than he expected, almost like holding a heated stone beside a fire. The dragon closed its eyes, apparently satisfied. Caleb stared in disbelief before shaking his head. "I've only known you for one night." He chuckled softly. "And you've already decided I belong to you." The dragon answered with another happy chirp. Caleb laughed. "I suppose that's settled then." For a while, neither of them moved. The chamber remained quiet except for the distant dripping of water, echoing somewhere deep beneath the mountain. Caleb gently scratched behind one of the dragon's small horns. The creature instantly leaned into his hand. Its eyes closed. A strange vibrating sound escaped its throat. It almost sounded like purring. "You purr?" The dragon purred louder. Caleb laughed so hard that his voice echoed throughout the chamber. "I never imagined dragons could do that." The dragon opened one eye proudly. Then, its stomach growled. The sound echoed around the chamber like a tiny earthquake. Caleb looked down. The dragon looked back. For a long moment, they simply stared at one another. "You must be hungry." The dragon nodded eagerly. "You expect me to know what dragons eat?" Another hopeful chirp. Caleb sighed dramatically. "I don't suppose there's a dragon handbook hidden somewhere around here." The creature tilted its head. "I didn't think so." Caleb searched the small bag Rowan had left beside the staircase. Inside were fresh bread, dried meat, cheese, and a small flask of water. He broke off a piece of bread and offered it carefully. The dragon sniffed it. Its nose wrinkled. It sneezed. The bread flew across the chamber. "So," Caleb laughed. "Not bread." He tried a small piece of cheese. The dragon sniffed again. Another sneeze. The cheese landed beside the first piece. "Definitely not cheese." Next came dried meat. The dragon's eyes suddenly brightened. It snatched the meat so quickly, Caleb barely saw it move. Crunch, crunch, gone. Well, Caleb smiled. "I suppose we solved that mystery." The dragon licked his lips, then looked expectantly at the bag again. "Oh no," Caleb laughed. "That was my breakfast." The dragon blinked innocently. Caleb crossed his arms. "You already ate it." The dragon lowered its head sadly. Its ears drooped. Its enormous eyes became even larger. Caleb groaned. "Don't do that." The dragon continued staring. "You know exactly what you're doing." Another tiny whimper. Caleb sighed in surrender. "Oh, all right." He handed over another piece. The dragon devoured it happily before rubbing its head against Caleb's shoulder in gratitude. "I have a feeling," Caleb muttered. "You're going to eat a lot," the dragon chirped proudly. Just then, it scrunched its nose. Its eyes crossed slightly. Caleb frowned. "What now?" The dragon inhaled sharply. "Ha!" Its body tensed. "Ha! Oh no! Ha-choo!" A tiny puff of dark smoke burst from its nostrils. Caleb jerked backward. The dragon looked just as surprised as he was. It blinked several times, then sniffed again. "Ha! Please don't. Ha-choo!" This time, a larger cloud of smoke billowed into the air before drifting toward the ceiling. Both of them stared at it. Then Caleb burst into laughter. The dragon looked delighted, apparently believing it had done something impressive. It proudly puffed out its chest. "You think that was intentional?" The dragon chirped confidently. "I'm not convinced." As if determined to prove him wrong, the little dragon planted all 4 feet firmly on the ground. It squeezed its eyes shut. Its tiny chest expanded. The scales around its throat glowed faintly orange. Caleb leaned forward. "What are you trying to pfft?" A tiny spark shot from the dragon's mouth. It floated through the air before disappearing. Silence. The dragon opened one eye hopefully. Caleb smiled. Well, it wasn't exactly terrifying. The dragon frowned, then tried again. This time a flame no larger than a candle flickered from its mouth before vanishing. The dragon bounced excitedly. Caleb applauded dramatically. "Much better. I think you'll make a proper dragon someday." The little creature chirped proudly and lifted its head high. Just then, heavy footsteps echoed from somewhere above. Caleb froze. The dragon's ears twitched. A familiar voice drifted down through the hidden staircase. "Caleb!" "Rowan." The dragon immediately looked toward the stone stairs. Curiosity filled its bright golden eyes. It took one eager step forward. Caleb gently placed a hand on its shoulder. "No!" The dragon looked back at him. "You stay here." The dragon tilted its head. "I mean it." The creature stared at him for another moment before reluctantly sitting down. Caleb smiled. "Good. I'll be right back." The dragon gave one small, unhappy chirp. Caleb climbed the ancient staircase, his heartbeat growing faster with every step. Behind him, the little dragon watched until he disappeared through the opening above. The cheerful warmth of the morning slowly faded. Something in Rowan's voice had sounded different, heavy, fearful. As Caleb pushed aside the hidden stone door and stepped back into the familiar forge, he found his father standing silently beside the anvil. The fire in the furnace still burned. But Rowan's face looked colder than the steel resting upon it. His eyes immediately fell upon the glowing mark on Caleb's hand. For a long moment, neither of them spoke. The silence said more than words ever could. Caleb suddenly realized something that made his stomach tighten. His father wasn't surprised. He had been expecting this, and whatever happened next was going to change everything.